everybody, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be talking about getting right with your past.
But before we start, if you like what you're seeing, please like, share, and subscribe.
I thought about this topic the other day, and the reason why is because I, like many times when we come up with topics, because I had a conversation with someone, and this person is angry. All right, just an angry person. Kind of explodes, you know what I mean? Not on me, but to other people. And my theory is that there's a lot of, I've talked to this person about some stuff, and so I know they have like a traumatic past and things have happened, or you know, they haven't gotten over, haven't gotten help for, or literally just have not faced. Right. And it's just really, I was telling this person that, you know, when you don't make peace with your past, or you don't get yourself, you don't face it, I feel like it comes out in different ways for different people. This particular person, it comes out in anger. And to me, I just feel like you're doing yourself such a great disservice when you don't get right with yourself. Now, this is something that I feel like I've done where I would go on for years, literally not facing something, and then it's going to show up. Right. Like I feel like it's going to show up at some point in your life. And I was telling this person that you're lashing out because stuff that you haven't faced. And this is how it's coming out. You know, you're playing victim, you're trying to be, you know what I mean? It's like, you got to get good with that. You have to figure out what it is going on with you so you won't lash out like that, because you're only going to make your life worse by not doing that. Now, I don't want to sound preachy, but I see this happen with people where stuff has happened in their past. And I'm not saying that everything is like easy. Like, I don't make it like this is like an easy thing, but especially depending on what it was you went through. Right. But when you don't get help for whatever it is, or you don't want to face it, it's going to show up in your life.
It's our shadow side. Our shadow side is the side we don't want to deal with the most.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean? We all have good traits and we all have bad traits. Yeah. You know what I mean? And our good traits, we rather, you know, have you ever seen people, when people like to take their zodiac sign, but they only want to talk about the strengths?
I know,
they're just like, they're the part that they like. Yeah. You know what I mean? But people don't realize even within that zodiac sign, there's also traits that are low vibrating. And so mine would be that I'm very stubborn. Right. Now, stubborn is all sort of relative, because you can take that different ways. Stubborn is like, I can be really hard to deal with because I don't like change. Right. I don't like people telling me what to do. You know what I mean? On the other hand, if I'm trying to work out and I'm trying to get done, no matter how hard it is, I won't give up. Right. That's another good part of being stubborn. Right. But you always have to look at the side of you that you don't want to look at. The side that's scary, the side that makes you not a victim and makes you the problem. You know what I mean? And we all are that. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier to say, you know, people are annoying more than it is to say that you are. Yeah. Right. You know? This is what I think that's happening here, is that there's so many people that are doing just that. They're wanting to point the finger at other people instead of taking responsibility of whatever their problem was. An example would be, like, even if I'm putting it on myself, like we were talking about this earlier, that so we often bring up our circumstance often because it is literally like one of those times in your life where it has made me see every era of my way. When you lose everything, or you have to start your life over, something complicated happens, something awkward's going on in your life, it makes you like evaluate everything you've done. And the issue, like, there's a lot of core issues, but one of the bigger core issues was that I have got into this position because I wasn't wanting to face money problems, right? So I'm just going to use this example. I wasn't wanting to face money problems. I was spending like I, you know, was rich, or, you know, we did well for ourselves, but I was overspending. I was, you know, pushing out more than was coming in. And when this all happened, when we lost everything, and I was telling this person this story, I was like, you know, when I lost everything, I wasn't being real with myself. I was trying to act like, oh, you know, just this happened, that happened, and I had to put money towards here and there. And the truth is that
I really wasn't facing my problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was putting money into things just because I was trying to fulfill myself in some way. And by doing that, I went broke.
Yeah.
And when you go broke, things happen. Okay. And what happened to me was came homeless. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, this is kind of the same situation here in a different way. Like, you're not wanting to look at something, so it's coming out in this way. Right. And this is the one thing that I think that people have to, I think you'll feel better. I think it's weird to say, but I know because it's hard, but you'll feel better if you just face whatever it is.
Being a victim in general, though,
it's hard.
It's just a bad place to be in. It's a place I don't like being in. I don't like being, I always try to make things my fault.
Yeah.
It's just so I can have some control over it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that in some way you have to be that way. You have to make whatever problem you have kind of your fault so that you can take it and then sort of not put yourself in a place of it always happens to me. You know what I mean? I once had a friend that always used to say, no matter how much I give and give, people just take advantage and people just do this and, you know, and people mistake my kindness for my weakness. And I would always go, but if you keep giving and giving, why are you doing that? Are you doing that because you really want to give, or are you doing that because you want validation or friendship or something from the other person that you're not getting no matter how much you give and
it's like, what is the payoff?
Right. I don't give and give.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't. I don't give and give. I do give, but I don't just give and give and give because people can mistake that. But there is a need that she was also looking for that she didn't want to tap into. She just wanted everybody else to be the mean people and her to be this giving, nice person. I'm like, no one's just ever just giving and nice and taking advantage. There's a reason why you do the things that you do. You know what I mean? You don't just, you know, like when people, like, let's just say something like overeating. You don't just overeat because it's just, there's something's wrong.
Something happened.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like there's something wrong when you don't want to control
that you're not looking at. Yeah.
There's something wrong when every friend you have mistreats you.
Yeah.
There's something wrong if you're in a relationship, and every relationship you have, there's something always going a problem. That means that you are the core issue.
Yeah.
And like everything that you do. You know what I mean? And so that's why I always try to find my fault in everything, because if I don't, then that makes me a victim, and I don't really like being a victim. That to me is lazy.
Yeah, but have you always looked at yourself though? Have you always? But there was a point in time where you didn't look at yourself, and you blamed. Like were you ever like? I mean,
I blame my mother for things. I blame my father for
things. We were talking about this earlier about
our mom. Yeah, I blame my mom, my father. I blamed you know, just men that I used to date for the reason why I wasn't married. And it's easy to do that. It's really easy to get into that because on some level, there are some parts of them that is to blame. So it's easy to make yourself believe that because your parents are responsible for raising you. Yeah. So if they didn't raise you right or they did something off,
it's going to show up.
It is kind of a bit of their fault. But the thing is like, that's what I'm saying. It's easy to go there because you can find the fault there. You know what I mean? But there's also then a part where you have to take, you know, responsibility for your own life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And my point is like, whenever I am in a position where I'm getting like the same feedback from lots of people, then there is something's wrong. Like something I'm not doing or something I should try differently. Yeah. And, you know, I'm not one of these people that walk around and say, you know, oh, look, I was raped. I'm not going to say, the reason why I'm raised is the reason why I'm single. Right. No, that was one man. And yes, it was traumatizing. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if I was being honest with myself, that was one traumatization from a man. Yeah. I've been traumatized by lots of men. Right. In different ways. Yeah. But most of it was my fault. Yeah. Because I was kind of a doormat. Like, you know what I mean? When it came to women and when it came to work and when it came to other things, I was like a aggressive person. But when it came to men, I felt doormat like, because I feared leaving, because I feared being alone, because I feared if I showed any strength, then they would walk away. You know what I mean? And so I realized that came from my father. You know what I mean? I get that. You know what I mean? But I can't blame him forever for the reason why I'm single. At some point I have to forgive him and see him as a whole nother person. I was gonna say, like, once you realize what your problem is, like even say it is your parent. Yeah. Once you realize that, then you can stop being a victim because now you've pinpointed the issue. Yeah. So it's like eating. If you overeat, I know why I'm an emotional eater. Yeah. Okay, so now you know. So now you can't say, It's because when I was younger, I used to eat everything and my grandmother cooked for me all the time. No, now you're an adult. You're not a child anymore. So you get to make your own decisions. So it's just like once you pinpoint what it is, then you got to do the hard part of changing it. And that is hard. You know what I mean? The hard part of anything is changing what you know, especially the older you get. I mean, the older you get, that's what they say it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. It's because that is true. It is really hard when you get of a certain age. As you get older and older, and you just don't want to change your story.
Well, yeah,
your story
because
sort of works for
because
you.
when you change your story to the real story, the one that you didn't really want to face, you realize that you're most of your problem.
Right.
Like that's like Kara was saying, like you can easily just point the finger at, and probably rightfully so in some ways, like, oh yeah, like for instance, your parents' issues. If you had issues with the way you were raised, okay, and then it shows up and you're only saying, well, it's because my mother and my father raised me this way, and this is the way that I am, and I can't stand them. You're getting upset at them. It's like you'll never get anywhere thinking like that. It really is about looking at yourself. Like when you are purposely not acknowledging your issues, even if it is based off of your past, then what you're saying is that I take no ownership in my life whatsoever. Like I have nothing to do with that. And I feel like there's a point where you have to be like, no, it's my life. Like no one else is living this life but me. Even like we were talking earlier about like my mom, not going into major detail, but we both had some issues separately. Issues with our mom. Now, we did face those issues with our mom, and we talked through those issues with her, and we're in a better place. You know what I mean? It's a better place. Same thing with, in the other relationship. You know what I mean? So it's like, but because of that, we can now have a real relationship, whatever that looks like, whatever it looks like, at least it's a real relationship, and we're not all hiding about our feelings about the past and not talking about stuff. The one thing I don't like, I feel like there's a difference between privacy and secrecy, and I think that when people hold a bunch of secrets, I think it holds a lot of shame. You know what I mean? I think you hold shame on your shoulders when you do that. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to come on YouTube and make a big video about all the secrets and the shame that you have in life. I'm not necessarily saying that, but there is something to be said for sitting down with somebody that maybe to talk to someone, and say, yes, this happened or whatever it is, so you can be able to live with yourself.
And one thing of one positive change that can help you. I mean, I remember when you make one positive change, it can lead you into a realization of your problem.
That's true.
I remember when I was in New York, I used to spend so much money, and I made money in New York. I made good money in New York. When I moved home, though, I became a housekeeper. We lost everything. And so when I was in New York, I didn't have money, not because I didn't make money. It's because I overspent money. I spent money all the time.
It was ridiculous.
So when I came home to Indiana, I actually had to I started working out. I actually had to go to the doctor because I had a problem and I didn't have health insurance. And so I had to pay for that bill. I mean, and there was nothing wrong with me. It ended up being nothing wrong with me. And I ended up paying like $2,500 for,
I think it was like an anxiety problem, right?
It ended up being like, but I was having like upper back problems and just, nervous. And I really, so anyway, I had to pay this bill, right? Well, at the same time, I also decided I wanted to try to save money for the first time in my life. You know what I mean? I wanted to see something at the end of the year. You know how you get to that place? There's like this moment when I've never felt like so serious about it. And so I decided that I was going to save. I didn't care. I made minimum. I mean, I didn't make a lot of money. I make like at that time compared to what I made in New York. It was a drop in the bucket. But I decided I don't care. I want to at least see $500 at the end of the year. $500 that I have at the end of the year, and with that decision, it changed the way I kind of saw money. See what I'm saying? When you make a decision, it can change things. At the same time, then my hospital bill came in. So now I thought, crap, I gotta pay this hospital bill, and now I want to save money. How am I gonna do that? And so it's like, figure it out. You can do it. And I swear that I paid that bill off. And I also saved way more money than $500 by October. You know what I'm saying? And so with that, it took me into the conversation. Through that, it took me to the conversation of why it is that I didn't have money in New York. And the reason, and
you were saying,
it opened up a door of seeing why. So, and I started asking myself this: why can I work at a job like this that doesn't pay me much and have so much money? And so much money, I still get it. So much money. Yeah. And then in New York, where I actually had money, I had never had I always was late on rent. I was late on phone bills. I never had money. I could never catch up. And so it made me realize, as having to minimize my life, you know, that I bought stuff to make myself feel better, not necessarily because I needed it. And so now everything that I have in my life right now, I use.
Yeah.
I think whenever you take yourself, and whenever you make yourself the focus, then you can see where you kind of fall in. You can see where you become the problem in your own life in all areas. You know,
everything goes back to asking yourself why about your life. Like, well, I don't care what you're going through in your life, but if you just ask yourself, like, if something keeps showing up, okay, if you've had a situation that keeps showing up all the time, like, God, this happened to me again. Like, I'm in another bad relationship. Like, God, I can never find the right person. It's like, you need to pause. So first of all, just stop and say, why is this? But why? What is going on with me? Not what's wrong with men or what's wrong with women or whatever your situation is. It's the question is why is this happening always with me?
Right.
When I realized I was dating bad guys, like not that weren't right for me or treated me wrong or whatever it was. There was a moment where I was just like, okay, so now Danielle, none of these men know each other. None of them know each other. So they're not conspiring with each other and, let's get Danielle and be mean to her. Let's all treat her. None of these men know each other. But who they do know was me. I'm the one they know. So I would be the common denominator in all the bad men that I've dated. Right. So now we've reached another conversation. Now the conversation I'm having with myself is, well, I'm the problem. Right. You know what I mean? I am the problem. I am literally have some type of self-esteem issue going on where I feel that I cannot find anybody else. So I'm just going to take what's there. There, I got attention and I'm happy about that with this one person. So yeah, I'll just take him. And so what happens with that is the same guy shows up with a different face. He just has a different face. I've met people in different parts of the world, in different parts of the country. You know what I mean? But somehow I'm finding the same people. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a point where you have to look at yourself.
Yeah.
You got to face yourself. You got to face whatever you're not willing to look at and you're shoving away and putting under a rock. We've all done this. Some people are still doing it.
But every lesson, any kind of issue that you're having in life is an opportunity to really learn how to deal with it.
You know, even though as close as Kara and I are, like we have, because some people don't even realize, sometimes they don't know this, but we've had a lot of like conflicts. Over we're sisters, first of all, and we're close in age. So there's been a lot of things that have happened in our lives that that's going to make us not ever talk to each other again. That's out of the question. That's ridiculous. We can always work through something. Yeah. But that's the thing, is that we've always, the reason why I'm realizing why our relationship always worked out really well is because whenever something happens with Kara and I on a personal level where we have a conflict or something, we literally tackle it then. Right. Like we don't wait. Like I've waited with other people. I've waited a little while to be like, okay, here's my problem with you. You know, I'm not like that now, but with Kara, I realized that we tackle our issues like immediately. Yeah. So the reason why we're able to be what you guys see is the closest with us is the reason why it's so genuine is because I think we're able to just be like, we're like no BS with each other. Like when I'm doing something wrong, Kara just calls it out. I do the same for her, and it's just the way that it is. Yeah. Okay, you can cry about it later if you want to, but she's not going to let me get away with BS, and I'm not going to do the same thing. So we're able to tackle issues immediately. But if we were the type of people who had a real issue with each other and we didn't really talk about it, we would not be able to have this type of relationship. Yeah. And so people go, oh my gosh, I wish I was have the, we get this all the time. I wish I was as close to my siblings as you two are, you know, and I couldn't imagine any other way. But the one thing I can say, like just on a personal level, that I think the reason, if you guys are having problems with your siblings, that every situation is different. I understand that. But I do think that a lot of siblings don't get along because there's something in their past that they did not face or they not want to talk about. It could be anything. Yeah. It doesn't have to even be something traumatic. It can just be something minor that you guys just don't have that closeness, you know? And it's showing up that way. But because Karen and I are able to have real difficult conversations, really hard, difficult conversations with each other, it makes it like I said, it's the respect level. I think the loyalty and respect level is there. So if y'all having problems with your siblings and you really want to be close to them, if there's probably, I'm not a psychiatrist, okay, but textbook, there's probably something you're not talking about with them.
But I think a lot of people feel like they need to hold on to some sort of I need you to tell me what I need to hear in order for me to move on in life, and you're just not going to get that.
When we get into arguments and legit, I feel personally, not because I'm trying to be prideful, but I just feel like I was not wrong. And if Karen feels like she's not wrong, like we don't say sorry. Like Karen and I do not say we're sorry, but we move on. Yeah. And we were able to still live and be nice and fun and have a good time and everything. Maybe a little awkwardness for like 5 minutes, but there are times where Karen says she's wrong and she comes to me like a woman and would be like, you know what, that was wrong. And then I do the same thing too. You know what I mean? Like if I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you I'm wrong. I will probably not like doing that because it's really embarrassing sometimes. But the one thing I can say is that when you are wrong, you will say that, you know, I'm wrong. And when you feel like you weren't, we just let that go.
You're right. I always believe, because I'm like this. If I feel like, sometimes I will be, if it's in the heat of an argument, I can't say I'm sorry. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But not gonna happen.
Sometimes I really don't believe that I'm wrong. Yeah. And then, I'll take a day or so. Yeah. And then I'll think, well, maybe I was. After we've calmed down,
sometimes
you should never make decisions anyway when you're in any kind of heightened emotional state. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whether you're really happy or really sad, you need to be pretty even keeled before you make decisions on things. And the truth is like when you're really mad, sometimes you say things or you believe things that aren't really true. But then when you come down a little bit, you think, well, I could have handled that a little different. Well, maybe she's right. There have been a ton of things that I have had arguments with her with, and then a day later I realized, oh well, maybe Daniel was right about that, because you could have taken that it depends on who you are, the point of view of the person. And so I'll say I'm sorry because I am. You know what I mean? Because I am sorry. You know what I mean? Because I thought, well, I didn't see it when I said that, but you were right. I should have done that. And then there are sometimes I think, absolutely, I'm not sorry, and I'm not going to say I'm sorry. And if you need me to be, if you need me to say I'm sorry to be your friend, then I guess we're not friends. That's how I feel.
It's like authenticity. It's like having a genuine, authentic relationship is really important. For me, even for other people. Like I like for people to have. 'Cause I know how uncomfortable it can be.
You don't want people around.
Yeah, when you're just faking it all the time.
Around you all the time.
So having like an authentic like relationship is really important. So once you're in a friendship, a relationship, whatever it is, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's your parent, I don't care if it's your sister, I don't care if it's your friends, whatever it is. If it doesn't feel authentic and you're not calling that out and you're sitting there in a fake situation, it's always going to be a problem. Like it's always going to be an issue. You're going to feel yucky, inside, because it's being phony. So I think the important thing is that we're uncomfortable with not being authentic. Like that makes us genuinely uncomfortable. So it would just make it would be cringe.
It's like even with you guys, I'm not going to tell you guys things that I don't really believe. Yeah. If I can have 1,000 people, I can have 1,000 people comment and say that I disagree with you, Kara. If I agree with it, then I could care less. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say things for you to subscribe. I'm not going to say things for you to get likes or anything. I'm just going to be myself and let the chips fall where they may.
Because there's been situations.
But I have to be myself all the time. If I'm not myself on a date, if I'm not on myself when I'm at work, I don't care if I'm at a church. I don't care if I'm not myself, then I don't like myself. I start to feel uncomfortable, and I start to take it out on myself. You know what I mean? And no, we have to be.
Well, especially doing the kind of show that we're doing too. See, we're doing like talking, right? Like podcast style. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's no way we could come on here and be like, just shooting the shit and not mean anything that we're saying. So
whether I'm like talking about politics or men or anything, I'm giving you my point of view, and whether you like that point of view is really up to you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you how you should feel about me, but I am going to tell you who I am. Yourself, this is who I am. So you have to decide whether you want to like watch our show or anything like that.
But being true to yourself is high up on my expectations for myself. You know what I mean? Like and then if I am interacting with someone who's not authentic, I'm like, oh God, I can't even do it. Okay, I'll entertain you for about 5 minutes, but I hope I never see you again. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like I don't want to deal with you anymore. So I think yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about this that some of the biggest problems I think that people have, like we're talking about even like when people say they like our relationship and because a lot of times you guys will comment and say, oh, you know, I can see the realness in y'all's relationship. I love your guys' relationship. And, you know, and that's just an authentic thing. Yeah. And I really honestly believe it's because we don't BS each other. Yeah. And I think that if you're in a relationship with somebody, whether it be your parents, your brother, your sister, friends, or whatever, if you are BSing each other, you guys are not really talking about what you really want to talk about or what you really should be talking about. It's going to look messy. And it's going to be, your relationship's going to be just boring, and you're going to need things. You're not going to be able to just be alone with them and have like just conversation. You won't do that because there's something you're not facing. And there's something you're not looking at within a relationship. That's like the failure. I feel like that's how all relationships fail. Is because people are not telling the truth about something. It's about communication, but someone's not telling the truth about something, and then that's making it weird. Yeah. Because I used to be pretty uptight. I feel like a little bit I was uptight because I was not relaxed because I wasn't being really truthful with some stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I wasn't really telling my true like feelings on things, and now I just kind of like, oh well, whatever. Yeah. it doesn't really matter. Freedom is really a choice. It is. You know what I mean? Freedom is how you live your life and being authentic to yourself. I mean, there is like Bob Marley said, you know, free your mind of mental slavery. Oh yeah, and that is true. Yourself, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. And the truth is that people think just because you're in jail or something that means you lost your freedom. But the truth is no. People walk around Earth all day long, trapped in jobs they hate and point of views they don't express, and you know, pain that happened from their past that they don't want to get help for. Yeah. And so most people are just living in their own little mental jail. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so this is why I say I don't really, not that I don't want people to subscribe, but I'm not going to not be Kara to get subscribers. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be Kara, you know, to get a job. I want people to know what they're getting into when they meet me. And you should want that for yourself, though. Like y'all should really want that for yourself. You'll never find like your tribe in life. Yeah, you won't. If you're never going to be who you are. You know what I mean? Would it suck for us to have 1 million subscribers and we're just being fake? Then we couldn't even be ourselves. That's not fun. Right. You know what I mean? I'd rather have 250 subscribers than I get to be myself. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's the same with relationships. I'd rather, if I date a guy and he doesn't like me, I'd rather him be okay with saying that. Because I don't want to be in a relationship with someone that I have to perform for. Yeah. I want to be in a comfortable relationship with people. Even at work, if you don't like me, fine. That's okay. Yeah, at least we know. At least we know that now. At least we know that's fine. I'm not going to try to be your friend, and you don't have to try to be mine. But we do have to get a job done. So yeah, we have to coexist here. That's how I feel. And that's really just growing up. You know what I mean? To me, it's like there's actual growing up like with your body and your age, but then there's a spiritual growing up that you have to go through too as well. There are people who are 60 years old that still act like they're 6 because they just never fixed anything that would happen with them, so they still hold on to stuff, you know. And so that's what I'm saying. You have a spiritual growth that you have to do in this journey of life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you can live to be 100 years and at the end of your life, all you'll be thinking about is what you didn't do. Like, don't hold on to it. And if it's shame or something, then don't hold on to that, y'all. Because if you hold on to that, it's going to take over your entire soul. Right. It's going to take over every part of who you are. And it's all because you're trying to hide. You know what I mean? And that's just, I feel like you're not living. Right. You're just existing. And, you know, I just think that the people are so much more interesting than what they, like, I feel like that's what I love about talking about this kind of stuff, because it's like, I think that you just want people to look at themselves. Like, that's the kind of the purpose, I think, sometimes of what we're doing here, is we just want people to kind of look at yourself, because we've had to look at ourselves. Right. And it's helped a lot. Like, it's changed my life, being able to look at myself and not, not be ashamed of some stuff in my life. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of people who are ashamed of stuff in their life.
I mean, right. Like, you're not going to compare yourself. You're not going to compare yourself to other people if you like yourself and you become less. Yeah. You know, like people will look at like celebrities and they'll think, oh, look at these people with all this money and glitz and glamour and everything, and then they get shocked when they see that they've committed suicide or they're on drugs and they got caught sleeping with some other woman that's a prostitute. Yeah. You know what I mean? We get shocked because we think that that is the epitome of success, of happiness. But happiness is really not that. Happiness is literally in your control. Yeah. And the longer you go without facing a problem that you know what's wrong,
right? Yeah.
Then it gets the pain of it can get worse and worse. It's like when someone's an alcoholic and they don't want to admit it to themselves and they go out and drive and kill someone's family. Yeah. And it's just like, see what happens when you don't really think about. We don't want to deal with what your problems are. Mm-hmm. You just want to keep being comfortable in your misery.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I mean.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I feel like the universe makes the punishment harder and harder until you just say, okay, I have an issue.
But let us know what you guys think about that. Give us some comments below. Let's have a topic idea. Just go ahead and email us. I will put the email here or here. And also do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And thank you to the new subscribers that are on. We really appreciate you guys. And that's it. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. We will see you guys later on this week. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.